Losing balance isn't just about age, it's about unnoticed habits that slowly disconnect you from your body. 99% of older women make these 8 mistakes daily without realizing the damage. But awareness can change everything. Stay until the end. The last mistake is the most dangerous and the easiest to fix. Scattered mind. The foundation of our physical balance does not begin in our feet or our legs. It begins in the mind. Our mind, in its natural state, is like a deep and placid lake, perfectly reflecting the sky. But for most of us, especially in our modern world, the surface of this lake is in a constant state of turmoil. The winds of worry, the waves of planning, and the relentless currents of distraction keep it churning. A mind in this state cannot provide a stable foundation for the body. The first and most profound mistake that leads to a loss of balance is allowing the mind to remain in this scattered, fragmented state while the body is in motion. We have forgotten how to unify our attention with our action. True balance is a form of profound presence. When presence is lost, balance becomes precarious. Consider the simple act of walking. For a child, this is an act of total absorption. For most adults, it has become an unconscious, secondary activity. While we walk, our mind is elsewhere. It is composing an email, it is replaying a difficult conversation, it is worrying about a family member, or, most destructively, it is staring at a screen. In these moments, your awareness is not in your body, it is fractured. Your inner sense of balance, your proprioception, which relies on a constant subtle stream of information from your feet, your joints, and your inner ear, is compromised because the central processing unit, your attention, is occupied elsewhere. This is the first great mistake, the illusion that you can be in 2 places at once. You cannot walk safely down the street if your mind is walking through the halls of yesterday's regrets. Your body is here, but yourself is not. This disconnection is a recipe for unsteadiness. The ground may be perfectly flat, but your inner world is tilted, and so you stumble. This fragmentation is amplified by the habit of rushing. This is the second great mistake rooted in a scattered mind. Rushing is a mental state before it is a physical one. It is the state of trying to live in the immediate future. Your mind is already at your destination, while your physical body is still trying to navigate the present step. This creates a dangerous gap. The body is always truthful. It can only exist in the now. The mind that is always 1 step ahead is pulling the body along like a disobedient dog on a leash. This pulling creates tension and jerkiness in your movement. It prevents the fluid, relaxed, and stable gait of a person who is at peace in their own body. Watch a person who is walking with a calm mind. Their steps are placed with intention. Their body is a unified whole. Now watch a person who is rushing. Their movements are jerky, their head is forward, their center of gravity is misaligned. They are constantly on the verge of losing their balance because their inner and outer worlds are at war with one another. They are not walking, they are in a state of controlled falling. The practice to correct this is one of gentle but persistent unification. It is the decision to bring your mind back home to your body while you move. This is a form of walking meditation, but it need not be slow or strange. It is simply about choosing a single anchor for your awareness. The most powerful anchor is the sensation in the soles of your feet. As you walk, try to place 20% of your attention on the feeling of your feet making contact with the ground. Feel the heel strike, the way your weight rolls across the foot, and the final push-off from your toes. You do not need to change how you walk, you simply need to feel it. In the beginning, your mind will wander away after only 2 or 3 steps. This is normal. The practice is not to never wander. The practice is to gently, without judgment, notice the wandering and guide your attention back to the soles of your feet. Each time you do this, you are strengthening the connection between your mind and your body. You are calming the surface of the lake, and a calm mind gives rise to a steady, balanced, and confident body. Neglected body. While our balance begins in the mind, it is expressed through the physical body. A body that has been neglected, that has been treated as a mere vehicle without consideration for its needs, will eventually lose its capacity for stable, graceful movement. The second great area of mistakes lies in our relationship with our physical form. we stop listening to its quiet whispers, and so we are eventually forced to hear its loud shouts in the form of pain, stiffness, and falls. We must relearn how to inhabit our bodies with wisdom and respect, treating them not as objects to be used, but as sacred living temples that require our mindful care and attention. This requires us to re-examine the very foundation upon which we stand and the central pillar that holds us upright. The third mistake resides at our very connection to the earth, our feet. We encase them in shoes that are often chosen for fashion rather than function. Shoes that are too narrow, have an elevated heel, or have soles that are excessively thick and rigid essentially blindfold the feet. Your feet are brilliant sensory organs, containing thousands of nerve endings that are constantly sending information to your brain about the texture and inclination of the ground beneath you. This rich sensory feedback is essential for making the constant, minute adjustments in your muscles that keep you balanced. When we wear shoes that numb this feedback, we are effectively cutting ourselves off from the earth's wisdom. We are walking on numb stumps, unable to feel the subtleties of the terrain. A shoe with an elevated heel forces your entire center of gravity forward, placing enormous strain on your knees and lower back, and puts you in a perpetually unstable, forward-leaning posture. The simple choice of footwear is a profound statement about our relationship with the ground. To regain balance, we must choose to feel the earth again. Opting for shoes that are flat, flexible, and have a wide toe box that allows the feet to spread naturally is a fundamental act of restoring this connection. Moving upward from the foundation, we find the fourth and fifth great mistakes, which are deeply intertwined. Neglecting our core and allowing poor posture. The core is not just the abdominal muscles. It is the entire central cylinder of your body, including your deep back muscles and your pelvic floor. This is the axis mundi of your physical being. A strong, stable core is the anchor from which all of your limbs move. If this central pillar is weak, your arms and legs have no stable base of support. Your movements become less coordinated and more inefficient. It is like trying to operate a crane from a canoe. The slightest movement of the crane arm threatens to capsize the entire vessel. Many people, especially as they age, lose this central stability without even realizing it. This weakness then leads directly to poor posture, a slumped upper back, a forward head position. This posture then compounds the problem by shifting your center of gravity even further away from your stable base of support, making you inherently more vulnerable to a fall. It is a vicious cycle of weakness leading to poor alignment, which leads to even greater instability. The practice here is not about performing endless sit-ups. It is about re-inhabiting your center through simple mindful movements like gentle bridging or bird dog exercises, and by consciously practicing standing and sitting tall as if a string were gently pulling the crown of your head toward the sky. The sixth mistake in this category is perhaps the most subtle and the most important. It is the mistake of ignoring the body's whispers. The body is constantly communicating with us. It whispers to us through a flicker of weakness in a knee, a slight twinge of pain in a hip, a momentary feeling of unsteadiness when we turn too quickly. In our busy, distracted lives, we learn to ignore these whispers. We dismiss them as just part of getting older and we push through. But a whisper that is ignored will, over time, be forced to become a shout. The small instability becomes a stumble. The stumble becomes a fall. A fall becomes a fracture. We must retrain ourselves to listen with deep respect to these subtle signals. When you feel a moment of weakness, do not push through it in frustration. Pause. Acknowledge it. Ask yourself what it might be telling you. Perhaps you need to slow down. Perhaps a certain muscle needs to be gently strengthened. Perhaps you simply need to bring more mindful attention to that part of your body. To listen to your body's whispers is to become a true partner in your own health. It is to address the small cracks in the foundation before they have a chance to threaten the entire structure. This attentive, compassionate listening is a profound form of preventative medicine. Shallow breath. The third domain of practice lies in an element that is both profoundly physical and deeply energetic. It is the breath. The breath is the sacred bridge that connects the mind and the body. It is the governor of our nervous system and the conductor of our inner orchestra. The seventh great mistake, and one that is almost universal in our anxious modern world, is the habit of shallow, inefficient, chest-level breathing. This mode of breathing is not just a bad habit. It is a physiological signal of alarm. It is the signature breath of the sympathetic nervous system, the fight, flight, or freeze response. When we breathe in this way, rapidly, shallowly, using only the small muscles of the chest and neck, we are sending a constant low-grade message of danger to every single cell in our body. This keeps our muscles perpetually tense, our mind in a state of agitation, and our entire being in a defensive crouch. It is impossible to have a relaxed, stable, and graceful physical balance when your entire physiology is braced for an impending threat. Let us explore this connection more deeply. When you breathe shallowly, you are not fully oxygenating your blood. This can lead to a subtle but persistent feeling of fogginess in the mind and fatigue in the body, both of which are enemies of good balance. More importantly, this tense breathing pattern creates physical rigidity. The diaphragm, a large dome-shaped muscle at the base of your lungs, is meant to be our primary breathing muscle. When it moves properly, it massages our internal organs, stimulates the vagus nerve, which calms the entire system, and creates a stable, grounded core. When we breathe only with our chest, the diaphragm becomes tight and weak. This leads to tension in the neck, shoulders, and back, the very muscles we need to be relaxed and responsive to maintain our equilibrium. And chronically anxious breathing pattern leads directly to a chronically tense and rigid body, and a rigid body cannot make the fluid, subtle adjustments necessary for good balance. It moves like a stiff statue, while a balanced body moves like a willow tree, able to bend and sway with the currents of life without breaking. The antidote to this pervasive mistake is the conscious and deliberate practice of diaphragmatic breathing, or what I call breathing into the belly. This is the way we breathed as healthy infants before the stresses of life taught us to hold our breath. The practice is simple and can be done anywhere. You can place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly, just below your navel. This is to provide feedback to yourself. The intention is to breathe in such a way that the hand on your belly gently rises as you inhale and falls as you exhale, while the hand on your chest remains relatively still. You begin by gently and completely exhaling all the stale air from your lungs. Then, through your nose, you inhale slowly and deeply, imagining that you are filling a vessel from the very bottom up. Feel your belly expand like a soft balloon. Pause gently at the top of the inhalation, without any strain. Then, exhale slowly and completely, perhaps through pursed lips, allowing your belly to fall softly back toward your spine. The most important part of this practice is to make your exhalation noticeably longer than your inhalation. For instance, you might inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 6 or 7. This simple act of elongating the exhalation is the most powerful tool we possess for manually shifting our nervous system out of a state of stress and into a state of calm. It directly stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest, digest, and restore system. It lowers the heart rate, reduces the production of stress hormones like cortisol, and brings the mind into a state of calm alertness, or what we might call relaxed presence. By practicing this form of harmonious breathing for just 5 or 10 minutes each day, you are fundamentally retuning your entire being. You are dissolving the chronic tension in your muscles. You are creating a stable, grounded core. You are calming the frantic activity of your mind. You are creating the very physiological and neurological conditions that are prerequisite for confident, stable, and graceful balance. You are remembering how to use the breath not just to live, but to live well. Inner harmony. We now arrive at the final understanding, the keystone that locks all the other practices into a single, cohesive, and truly powerful whole. The eighth, and by far the greatest mistake, is the illusion of separation. It is the habit of seeing all these other issues, a scattered mind, improper shoes, a weak core, shallow breathing, as separate, mechanical problems to be addressed with a checklist of separate, mechanical solutions. I will buy new shoes. I will do my core exercises. I will practice my breathing. While each of these actions is beneficial, this fragmented approach misses the entire point. It is like a gardener who, seeing yellow leaves on one branch, fungus on another, and stunted growth on a third, tries to treat each symptom individually. A wise gardener understands that these are all expressions of a single, underlying problem, the health of the soil itself. The ultimate mistake is to neglect the soil. In our case, the soil is our state of inner harmony, the seamless connection between our mind, our body, and our breath. True, unshakable balance is not a collection of skills. It is an emergent property of a unified and integrated self. When the mind is present, when the body is listened to, and when the breath is deep and calm, balance arises naturally and effortlessly, just as a healthy plant naturally grows towards the sun. A fall is therefore not just a physical event. It is the final dramatic expression of a state of inner disharmony that has been building for a long time. The rushing mind, the unheard body, and the frightened breath are all symptoms of this one central ailment. We are living a life that is disconnected from our own center. We are at war with ourselves. The mind wants to be in the future, the body is in the present, and the breath is locked in a pattern of fear. With this inner conflict raging, how could we possibly expect to have a stable outer balance? The ultimate practice, therefore, is not to simply add more exercises or techniques to your day. It is to cultivate a state of being in which mind, body, and breath are invited back into a loving and harmonious union. The way we do this is through the quality of our attention. The loving attention you bring to the soles of your feet while walking is the same loving attention you bring to the rounding of your spine. It is the same loving attention you bring to the rising of your belly as you breathe. It is the same loving attention with which you listen to the subtle whispers of your body. The attention itself is the healing agent. It is the water and the sunlight for your inner soil. When every small act of your day becomes an opportunity to practice this unified presence, the distinction between the exercises and life begins to dissolve. Your whole life becomes a practice of balance. This is the great secret that is hidden in plain sight. We search for complex solutions, for special exercises and expensive equipment, but the key is within us at every moment. It is in the choice to be present. It is in the choice to be kind to our own bodies. It is in the choice to breathe with intention and calm. When you begin to live from this place of inner harmony, you will find that your physical balance is but a beautiful reflection of your inner state. You will walk through the world not with the fear of falling, but with the quiet, dignified confidence of a person who is finally at peace in their own skin, standing firmly on their own 2 feet, rooted in the unshakable ground of their own serene and present awareness. This is the true meaning of balance. It is not just about avoiding a fall, it is about learning how to stand and walk and live with grace. This made me realize my balance issue isn't just in my feet, but in my mind. Which of these mistakes resonated most deeply with you?